So, welcome to Beauty of Colors podcast. Angela, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me, Cleanne. Happy to be here.
You're very welcome. So, Angela, tell us about you and why did you write your book?
Yeah, so a little bit about me. I am really passionate about the fire movement. I didn't learn about it until I had read a few books earlier on. Probably have heard of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it was a very foreign concept to me until then. But it got me really excited about the possibilities for the future and what you could do with that. And so I started reading more information, more materials, anything I could get my hands on to learn more about it. And I realized that obtaining financial freedom can actually be a lot simpler than a lot of people realize. And so that got me really passionate about creating Fire Your Career, which is a movement that's designed to help empower people to achieve financial freedom through traditional routes and building their careers. So with my platform, I teach people how to build up their careers, how they can negotiate for a higher salary, how they can invest and do other really normal things to obtain that financial freedom. So it's something that I'm really excited about, that I'm really passionate about, and I truly believe can make the world a better place, because if more people are spending time doing the things that they love, then they can make the world better all around them.
So, what does the acronym? What does it mean? Fire? Is it the word fire, or is it because it's FIRE? Is it an
Correct.
acronym? Is it an acronym for something?
It
Or
is. Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah, it stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. So the idea, of course, is that you become financially free, that you're able to, in essence, live off of your investments. What I'm excited about is building a career that makes you passionate and excited. And so for some people, it may not make sense to retire early. You might want to continue working because you love your career. That's where I am in my point in life. I love doing what I do. And so I can't imagine retiring very early, maybe when I'm in my 50s. But in the near future, not so much. But the idea, of course, is that you can obtain financial freedom and have that flexibility to do whatever you want, whether it is to retire early, maybe it's to work part-time, or it's to do a little bit less if that's what you want, or take a break in your career, or just continue doing what you're doing because you're so passionate about it.
So, Angela, what are some of the ways that someone can fire up their career? What are some of the ways they can go ahead doing that?
Yeah, great question. So a few things you can do is you can make a pivot. So, and this is something that I did in my own career. I started working on the sciences. I was a research and development technician, and then eventually I shifted into marketing. So that's something you can do. So if you're finding that you have these skills that are valuable, but you're just not feeling very passionate or fulfilled in your career, you can make a pivot and still transfer a lot of the skills that you obtained earlier on in your career. So that's one thing you can do. You can continue building upon the career that you've already started. So continue on the same path that you've been on, continue to get salary increases, greater responsibilities, if that's something that you're passionate about, and you can continue to serve the world that way. Or if you decide that you want to take a break, you've at some point obtain financial freedom, so you can take a break, whether it's a year, a few years, early retirement potentially, or you do something else entirely. I follow people that have retired early and then they start a passion project, which is something then that they turn into their own career, or it's a side hustle or something that just really ignites them and gets them fulfilled and excited about what they're doing. And then they do something else that's entirely different from what they were doing in their career path, but gets them excited and going throughout the day. So those are just a couple of examples, but there's so much that you can do.
Okay. So achieving financial freedom, I know it's different for everybody. Do you have like a formula for it, or one formula, or is it just different ways of achieving financial freedom with the acronym FIRE?
Good question. Yeah, so that is a really good point, that financial freedom is really an individual experience. So financial freedom for me is not going to mean the same thing to you or to my neighbor or my friends or so on. And there's a few reasons for that. I have different priorities in life. I have my home that I live in. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and house prices are more expensive here than they are in, say, Texas. If I
Mhm.
want to continue to live in Oregon, my financial freedom number is probably going to be higher than someone that lives in Texas, simply because housing prices are so different. So it is an individual experience. One of the first things you can do is understand what your budget is. So yes, it's not the sexiest thing to talk about, but a budget is important to have. That way you can know where you stand when it comes to things like your net worth and your income, what money is coming in, what money is going out, and so on. So yes, it's important to understand that as at least the ground floor, the basis for building your financial freedom number. So there's not a perfect formula. There are definitely fire calculators out there. Some that I have used, FireCalc is one that I know is pretty popular, that is pretty handy. But what really is important to know is that you need to know what are your priorities. So where you want to live, what kind of standard of living you're looking for, and so on. And that is going to dictate what number you need to achieve and have in your investments in order for you to obtain financial freedom. So yeah, like I said, it's very individual, but the key thing to help build towards that is to live below your means. So it is something that requires a lot of discipline and diligence. It's not easy for everyone to do. Sometimes you do have to make sacrifices, but if financial freedom is worth it to you, then it really can make sense. Something else I know that others will do to obtain financial freedom or get to it sooner is travel. You can travel to other countries and the cost of living is substantially lower than what it is in the US. And that can help you obtain financial freedom even sooner if that's something that you're flexible and able to do.
So Angela, in your book, Fireworks, do you talk a little bit about investing in probably the index funds or stocks or stuff like that? Do you talk about that in there?
I do, yes, that is important. So yes, I talk about index funds, I talk about different ways to invest, and I will always point out too that I am not an accredited financial advisor. These are things that I share with people that have worked for me, but everyone should always choose investments based on their own individual retirement goals. And if in doubt, go to an accredited financial advisor for advice. But there are very simple things that
Mhm.
you can do to really build a foundation for success. And I encourage starting with index funds. That's where I started my investments.
Mhm.
It's a really nice, easy way to capture a broader portion of the market. So you diversify your risk, your potential gains aren't going to be as high as, say, for instance, if you invested in an individual company.
Mhm.
But because you're diversifying your risk, it's a really good balance. And if you look at the historical returns for the S&P 500, for instance, you
Mhm.
do tip on a year by year basis see good healthy returns. Now there are down years and you have to be able to stomach that at points. Yes, you will likely see your investments go down, and it's not easy to watch that. It's easy to get scared and want to jump out, but that's why it's important to never invest more than you can really afford to risk. It is a risk at the end of the day, but index funds are a great way to diversify your risk and also see good healthy gains.
Nicely said, Angela. Where can the listeners get in touch with you? Where can they get a copy of your ebook? Because I know you do have it.
I
For,
do. Mhm.
yeah. And if,
Yeah.
yeah, do you have the paperback as well? How much is the paperback? And tell us a little bit about where they can get a copy of this book.
Yeah, so the digital version of the book, it's free for anyone that wants it, and you can get that on my website at fireyourcareer.com/ebook. So just the way it sounds, it's FIRE yourcareer.com/ebook. And yeah, anyone can download it for free. It's a great resource. It's about 7 ways to fire your career. It's a great way to get a foundational understanding for the different ways you can build financial freedom, you can grow your career and be successful with the goals that you set out for yourself. I have other great resources that are available on my website as well, and I encourage people to look at that. Or I'm always open to having a discussion with anyone, so you are welcome to reach out to me directly as well. And I have a contact us page or contact me page on my website. That's the best way to get in touch.
So do you do any speaking engagements on file, or do they just contact you for your website?
Yeah, I do some speaking engagements, so I'm open to that as well. If anyone wanted to get in touch with me about that, the best way to reach me is, yeah, through the contact me page on my website. Or if you want to email me directly, my email is angelalmtipton@gmail.com, and that works as well.
Okay, sounds great. So Angela, do you have any last words for the listeners about how they can develop a winning money mindset to help them along, driving success in their life?
Absolutely. So I appreciate that you brought up the money mindset, because it is one of those things that when you take an honest look at where your money mindset is, usually most of us, and I'm included in that, or I have been in the past, where we don't always have a winning money mindset to help build us up for success. Usually we have some pretty negative connotations about how we feel about money, that it feels icky, or that rich people are just they're rich slobs and they don't care about the world. There's so many things, and yes, so many negative connotations. To really set yourself up for success is to start by being honest with yourself. Evaluate where you are today, and it's okay if you're not where you want to be. There's always room for improvement, room to grow. There's no need to feel ashamed if you're not where you want to be, but you do need to take an honest look at where you are in order to understand how you can achieve your goals. So look at where you are today, where you'd like to go, and then from there you can build a map to success. And it starts by taking an honest inventory of where you are and not having shame, being able to grow beyond that, and having a community around you. I encourage people to go to the website. That's one great source of community, but friends can be a good source of community as well. We can all uplift each other and encourage each other and learn from one another that yes, better is possible. There's no shame in not being where we want to be today, and there's so much opportunity for growth and success in the future.
Wow, nicely said, Angela. Well, Angela, thank you for being on Beauty of Colors podcast.
Thank you for having me, Clan.